family. It's your girl, Emma. Hope all is well with you. I know today's Christmas and people are with family and friends and having a good old time, spending some quality time with the family. People are probably traveling, planes, trains, automobiles, highways, byways. So I appreciate anybody who has elected to hang out with me, and I'll try not to take up too much of your time today. But you know what? I said we need to talk about this, and we need to talk about this live. So I want to talk about this brother by name of Joshua, who was in his house and he saw a little black girl, 6 years old, walking in the cold Detroit winter snow by herself. So he acted and he said, "You know what? Let me just go out and see what's going on." So let us just watch and then we'll talk about it further.
Little girl walking past my crib, man. Why her so cold, man? Who f***ing daughter is this, bro? Thank God I seen her. Somebody else could have just walked past and picked this little girl up, bro. These people is crazy out here, bro. So walking by herself. How old is you? 6? Man. If that ain't crazy, bro. I swear some people don't need kids. I'm so happy I seen her and then nobody else see this little girl, man. Oh my God. So I got out and walked with her. She talking about she was walking to school, so I'm about to walk with her and make sure she go to this school. Whose damn daughter is this, bro? I need y'all to be. I tell you that. Whoever daughter this is, y'all let your daughter walk. I heard no fucking hat, no shoes. Thank God I seen her. There's sick ass people out here. Thank God I seen this little girl, bro. Shit got me so mad and angry. She got me so mad and angry, bro. Nigga got this little precious little girl just out here walking by herself, bro. I ain't want to put her in my truck, bro. So I got out and walked with her, made sure she got to where the going. Oh, I'm so happy I seen this little girl. I felt so bad she would have ended up on the news. Come on, little mama. I called the police.
She was walking up 14th. She was walking up 14th, going to school down there. About 10 blocks, almost 10 blocks away. If I was cold, I definitely know she was cold.
Joshua, a father himself, says he would do whatever he needed to do to make sure the 6-year-old got to her school. When Joshua and the little girl arrived at the school, he said he made sure to tell staff at the front door exactly what happened, and that's when he broke down into tears.
She probably scared because she was walking for about 10 blocks.
Where's your sister?
She probably scared. So many people just pulled up on that little girl. I'm so happy I seen her.
Thank you, baby. God gonna bless you too.
I'm so happy I seen her.
Yes.
Joshua says he spoke with the little girl's father after the video went viral.
It was like we had a good, nice man-to-man talk.
This is so troubling to me. So troubling. Greetings, Renzo. How are you? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today on Christmas Day. Thank you. I agree with you. Saying it's not cool to let kids this young walk to school. Some parents don't realize how blessed they are to have kids. Salute to this brother indeed. Salute to brother Joshua. Yeah, I here's my thing. At no time in this climate, and we're going to talk about the statistics of missing kids and missing Black kids in the United States shortly, because we're going to have an economics with M moment. But before we do so, I just want to say some things about how I feel about this, and I see that you all feel the same way. Anybody, and I don't care. I don't have a 6-year-old child. I don't care. There is no parent. I don't care what your circumstance is. There is no parent that should have their 6-year-old child walking by herself 10 blocks, 1 block, 2 blocks, 2 minutes. It doesn't matter. By herself in the winter cold, on top of that, not even properly dressed for winter. Okay. In this day and age, period. Actually, at no point. But even especially now with the way this climate is and the way things are and the way our black kids, our black babies are going missing on a regular basis, uh, I don't care who this parent is. Shame on you for letting your child be walking by herself in the winter cold and at the age of 6. And shout out to brother Joshua, who was in his house, as I said, and saw that and said, oh no, I need to act fast. And this is what we need, right? I say this every time when I'm talking about missing kids, because we have that problem here in Canada as well, with like kids just going missing, or they're being lured away, or they're even running away. But either way, it's a higher level of black kids. And so I say this all the time, which is that we as a community also need to look out for our children. If we see something, say something. Something doesn't seem right, we need to step in. So I love that this brother immediately jumped into action. And, he mentioned that he didn't put her in his truck. And people are like, well, why did you leave her out in the cold? Why are you walking with her in the cold? Well, listen, in this day and age, even if somebody saw that brother putting that child in his truck, they might have been like, 911, I just saw a black man take this girl into his truck, right? So he's doing the safe thing by, okay, at least let me walk with her, right? And then we know back in our day, I know back in my day, my parents would be like, don't go in cars with strangers, right? So if I was walking by myself, I wouldn't get in that vehicle. So the point is, nobody should be chastising him for not putting her in his truck. He did what he thought was best. So we cannot take away from this man did the right thing by this child. This child, like he said, would have ended up on the news. This child could have been lured away. And that's the other thing that a lot of these abductors do, which is that they'll make the child feel like they're not loved by their parent, and they'll manipulate them and say, oh, your parents don't love you. Come with me. I will give you a better life, etc., etc. So this man did the right thing. Period. Dot. The end. Appreciate him greatly for what he did. And you heard the woman in the video, I guess at the school, say, God's going to bless you. God's going to bless you indeed, brother. You did the right thing. This is sad indeed. I agree. Yes, Yahweh, keep them shielded. We have to do better. We must keep our children safe. Agree. Hey, Buckhorse, how you doing? Shalom, shalom. Hopefully the child protecting services are called. That was my next point, which is, the brother said he called the police. He ended up on the news. As you can see, there's a short news clip. And I feel like the police, one thing, but definitely child protective services. He said he had a man-to-man conversation with the father. I would love to know what that conversation was about and how that went. And I'm just curious. Where was mom? Where was dad? Why is this child walking by herself? Like, I would really have loved to know how that conversation went. And yes, CPS needs to pay a visit to these people's homes. I agree. This brother was a godsend to the little girl out there in the winter. This is so sad to see, but thank God for this man. Indeed. So the other thing I wanted to also talk about, family, is I just wanted to just go over the statistics for 2024, because when it comes to statistics for 2025, as it relates to missing kids, they usually do it the year after. So those statistics won't come out until 2026. So I thought it would be good to just have an economics with M moment, and let's just look at, these stats as it relates to our children, and look at some resources, and look at what we can do as the Black community when we see these kinds of things. So let's just take a quick look at this. So economics with M. All right. So missing children in the US, what the latest national data shows. So first of all, we'll talk about what does missing mean, because oftentimes when people say missing, the first thing that comes to mind is you've been abducted, where there are more facets to it. So a kid missing when a caregiver or police don't know where they are, or even even if it's for a short time. Missing can include running away, getting lost, custody disputes, or kidnapping. Reports are counted as entries in law enforcement systems. A child can be entered more than once in a year. So that could be like maybe somebody that repeatedly runs away or is lured away. And then the goal, obviously, is to find the child quickly and safely. So how many children were reported missing And so this is the latest national FBI NCIC, which is the National Crime Information Center. And that's their counts for 2024 from ages 0 to 17. So in 2024, missing person entries for the age of 0 to 17 were 330,597. And that's under the age of 18. And now, when it comes to Black kids, Black kids is the second from the left, which is fairly high. And then at the very far right, that larger bar is white. But as you can see, the Black kids is almost, well, it's more than half. It takes up almost more than half. So this is a large amount, right? So they understand why entries matter. One child can be entered more than once, and many cases resolve quickly, but every report is serious. We would like to think that. All right, so race and ethnicity. So the big takeaway: Black children are a large share of missing child entries at 30 to 40%, despite being only 14% of the US child population. So this is why I say our communities, we really need to step up. If we see something, say something, stay alert, support each other, unify, all of those things. And then runaways versus abductions. So when police filled in the missing person circumstances, runaways was the dominant circumstance. So that's the large bar here. And then in the middle is the smaller one next to the large one, I should say, is the abducted. And then kind of just the rest is like the last one here, which is like a smaller bar, it's just like adults that have um, repeatedly reported missing, basically. So they're saying like 95% were coded as a runaway. But I put a note here saying this doesn't mean kidnapping isn't real, right? It means the biggest bucket is officially reporting is as runaways, excuse me. So runaway cases can still involve danger, trafficking risk, or exploitation, right? So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Missing is missing. They're not where they should be. Recovery, most kids are found, they say. So, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, they say 91% of missing children's cases they assisted in 2024 ended in recovery. So, most missing kids are located, but speed matters. The faster adults act, the safer the outcome. So, what do we do as a family when we see something, say something? As I always say, I say, at the end of the day, when it comes to our youth and our children, I feel like we are all we have more than anything else. So we have to band together. So this is just for kids as well. Like if they end up lost, or they feel like they're being lured away, or they're scared about something, go to a safe adult, a teacher, store employee, parents with kids, or a security guard. Stay in a public, well lit places. Don't go to a second location with a stranger, even if they seem nice. See, that's what I'm talking about, that area where you have some people that are into luring our children away. They will say stuff and they will be like, oh, let me go buy you some candy. For example, it was this little girl. Let me buy you some candy. Oh, let me take you to the store and get you a hat and some boots and some gloves and those kinds of things. And then that's how you get the child, right? So even if they seem nice, and by the way, these are things that we as adults need to tell our children also when they leave the house, right? I know with me, my parents told me that on a daily basis. Don't get into the car with any strangers. Don't talk to strangers. Just keep going, say no, and all of those things. So the same thing applies. Know two phone numbers by memory. That's the other thing. A lot of parents, I know my parents used to make sure we knew our phone numbers, like our home phone numbers. And then also my mother used to sew that information on the inside of our coats or jackets, or somewhere on our clothing would be like something sewn on with the phone number and the name, because back in the day you didn't have like cell phones and all those things, right? So my mother used to put in every single item of clothing. Our name, our phone number, parents' phone number, parents' name. So no two phone numbers by memory, a parent, guardian, or backup person. If you're in trouble, call 911 or ask a safe adult to call right away. Online safety. Never share your address, school, or live location with people you don't know. And that's just online. Okay. So for parents in the community, like I said, if you see something, do something without doing the most. Just do something. Take missing reports seriously, especially for Black kids. Don't assume they ran away, because oftentimes I see a lot of talking points saying, oh, they're just bad kids that just ran away and what have you. And a lot of them are like, oh, that's what they deserve and stuff. And I see that from Black people. So we need to stop that. We need to take it just as serious, if not more so. Call police immediately if you think a child is missing. Early hours matter. Share accurate info, photo, last known location, time. Avoid rumor posting. Use neighborhood networks, schools, community groups to amplify quickly. Support runaway prevention, safe homes, counseling, and trauma-informed care. So, these are some of the things that are simple things that we can do, right? I say this moreover, there's so many times where I'll post a child missing here in Canada, and people will say to me, "Oh, I think I saw them and it didn't seem right. It didn't look right. And they were with some strange person and they didn't say anything, even though their gut told them something wasn't right." So that's my whole point. It's the importance of saying something, doing something. It will sit with you and it'll bother you, your gut. So it's important to do that. So here's the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the 24-hour hotline, 1-800 The Lost, missingkids.org, cybertipline.org, emergency, of course, 911. And then I just shared the data sources, which I already talked about, which was the National Center, National Crime Information Center, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. So, family, that's just some, quick snapshot information that we can really be involved in, right? When it comes to our children, because our children are our future. Okay. Yes, I agree. God bless Brother Joshua. So glad to see this live. Oh, I'm so glad that you joined. Thank you. Uh, oh my gosh. Yes. Oh, that's cool, Buckhorse. So your mother put a locket on your neck. Yeah, you see, like back in the day, the old heads used to do those kinds of things, like sew your name, your number. Like my mother was the queen of sewing because she used to sew our dresses. She used to sew our garments for us. So she would sew our names and our numbers, or not our. She would sew our name, but she would also put her name and my father's name and our number. If lost, call this number. And I was a wanderer. So when I was young, I got lost all the time. I would be in the mall with my parents, I'd be in the store with my parents, and I would just wander off. And the next thing you know, I'm lost. I'm lost. I got lost once in a hotel. I would get lost in department stores, in malls. And then I would end up going to the security desk because that's what my mother told me to do. If ever we are lost, go to security. So I would go to like the security desk and say, I can't find my mommy. And I would tell them my mother's name or my father's name, and they would go on the intercom and they'll be like, Mr. Ruth, Mr. Mrs. Ansah, your daughter is here. Please report to the security desk. So, these are all the little things that you can arm your kids with. And also just pour love into them. Let them know they're loved. Let them know they're not neglected. I can't even imagine how this young girl would feel. This 6-year-old girl would feel. Just out there walking by herself. Like it literally just gutted me. It gutted me. I felt the tears that this brother was crying. I was feeling the same way. I'm like, how can these parents do this? How? It's really just, it's sad. And as I said, in this day and age, we see how many kids are going missing, over 300,000 in 1 year, 365,000 kids going missing. And you have this child out here walking by herself in Detroit, winter? Mm-mm. No, no, no. This is just beyond, beyond. Oh, so you say you heard about this story? Yeah, I mean, he made it onto the news. He made it onto the news. It was, I think that was the Detroit local news that I played at the very end there. So very, very, very upsetting to see. Very upsetting to see. Yep. Support, record. Yep, exactly. That's what we need to do. And nowadays we have the technology where we have cell phones, we have all kinds of things, tablets, we have all kinds of things that we can literally record if we see something. Even if you don't feel safe to approach, get footage, call the police, get footage and say, I saw this. If you see them driving off, get a picture of the license plate, like all of these things that we can do easily. And actually, we could even do it sort of like stealth way, like they wouldn't even notice, right? You can literally fly under radar and do it that way, and they would never even know that their picture was taken. So in this day and age, yeah, there's no reason why we should not be able to capture this kind of stuff and really keep our eyes and ears, I'm like our eyes and ears open, right? And make sure that we are looking out for our youth. The amount of youth that are Black that went missing in 2024 is over 150,000. Okay. That's a lot of children between the ages of 0 to 17. So we definitely need to keep our eye out. Yeah, that is true, Renzo. They're not. Exactly. That's the problem. There's a lot of human trafficking that's going on. All of those things, they're getting lured. I'll tell you what they say here in Canada with a lot of our missing youth that get go missing. They say that they are either running away from a bad situation or they're being lured to a bad situation. So and they'll say that they're running away from things like single households or a toxic environment at home, and then those kinds of youths, I guess, would be falling into the category of being lured away, right? And as I said, it's a very sophisticated organization of lurers that will say things to these youth like, your parents don't love you, they're not going to love you like I do, come with me and I'm going to get you some clothes. I'll get you some running shoes. I'm going to get you this. I'm going to get you that. They'll say things like, we're starting a basketball camp and we're recruiting people. And then when that youth looks in the vehicle, it would be this beautiful husband and wife team. And they're appearing under the guise of being like this husband and wife team, right? And then there'll be some Black youth in the back seat. So then that Black youth that they were trying to recruit as well will feel safe and hop in. And the next thing you know, they're in some trap house up north in Aurelia or Thunder Bay or one of those places, even Niagara. So there's a lot of that going on. So I agree with you, Renzor. I agree. Um, Yeah, people are talking about the whole situation of organ harvesting and although the police don't deny that it's happening, they're saying it's a very, very rare and minimal amount. At the end of the day, we don't even want any of our youth to fall into any of these statistics, whether it's human trafficking, trafficking, drug trafficking, or being unalived or organ harvesting. We just want our kids to be home. Okay. And as I said, this young girl could have been a statistic, could have been the 151st thousand, right? And so I'm so grateful that this brother saw fit to come out of his house and walk with her. And as you can see, he's a father of four. So that's probably why he was so emotional, because he was probably imagining, what if it was my child, right? Like seriously. I'm really upset with the parents of this child. And I try not to judge parents, I really do. But in this instance, I don't care what the circumstances are. There's no reason why a 6-year-old should be walking by herself, period, leave alone 10 blocks to school. And you know what? The question begs, I wonder if this isn't the first time she's been walking by herself. Why do I feel like this isn't the first time? It's just the first time somebody saw. And I feel like it was meant that he saw this. It was divine intervention. I'm telling you, God doesn't sleep. And God probably knew something was going to happen. So he put that brother in the right place at the right time. And he put that little girl in the right place at the right time for him to see her. I am a believer in God. So I believe there was some divine intervention here. I do. So, family, there's another thing I want to talk about that just came up recently. And I wasn't going to give it any life, but I felt it necessary just because this brother did a really good thing. And I don't like the idea of anybody trying to, take his flowers away from him or seize an opportunity to make a name for themselves or whatever she was up to. But I'll set the stage. Apparently, this sister had a date with young Joshua, and she's going online and she's saying that, Joshua is really not a good Samaritan, and she's going to explain why. So let us look at what this woman has to say.
He didn't offer me a ride home. I was basically on the west side of Detroit, not knowing where I was at. I didn't know where I was at. All I knew was that it was cold. I had on a coat, but I was still cold, and 2 layers of pants. I started walking to West Warren, got the Warren bus, and was like literally catching buses to this morning, so I was able to get home to my kids. This man is not a good Samaritan. I wish I would stop saying that he did such a good deed, because he didn't. And I'm a vouch for the fact that he's saying that this little girl was 10 blocks away from her home when he went viral. This little girl was not that far. His apartment building is maybe about, at the most, I say 4 or 5 blocks from where he's proclaimed that he saw the little girl at.
Okay. Listen, madame. Okay, so your date didn't go well and you didn't get a drive home. Okay, you needed to get home to your kids. You didn't know where you were. You ended up taking the bus, whatever. That what does that have to do with what this brother did? The fact of the matter is, he is a good Samaritan and he did do a good thing. And it doesn't matter whether it was 10 blocks, 5 blocks, 2 blocks, 1 block. What on earth does that have to do with what he did? And for her to sit up there and say he didn't do a good thing, man, look, I'm sorry your date didn't go well. Maybe he just decided he wasn't interested. Maybe you weren't presenting nicely. Maybe you weren't nice, because you can't possibly be a nice person if you're saying that after seeing that video and seeing this little girl walking by herself, not adequately dressed for winter, and he walked her to school, and you are sitting up here talking about your date that went wrong, and you're saying as a result of your date, he didn't do anything good. You're the one. And now I see why that date didn't go well for you. Yeah, I agree with you, Sheila. We do have to be careful with ride shares. Yep. Well, I know that in the United States, they were talking about creating an option to just ask for a female driver now for women, which I think is great. But at the end of the day, even sometimes with women, you can't trust. So you just got to be careful. You have to be careful. Um, in this day and age, you just have to be careful. Ride shares, Uber, Lyft, all of them. You got to be so careful. Exactly, Buckhorse. It's like, how is she going online talking about he didn't do a good thing and it wasn't 10 blocks, it was 5 blocks? And I mean, what is she talking about? The audacity. I mean, at the end of the day, look, you're just a woman scorned. She's just a woman scorned, Buckhorse. She wasn't happy with the fact that he just didn't want nothing to do with her. Okay. And he was like, I'm not driving you home. But to be honest with you, look, if I went on a first date, I'm not letting anybody know where I live anyway. You just have to be safe all around. So, I don't know what happened, but she has kids and she said she wanted to get to her kids. But at the end of the day, madame, this has nothing to do with what this bro did, okay? Him not driving you home because your date didn't go well has nothing to do with him walking that beautiful 6-year-old girl to school, okay? And he is a father, just like you're a mother. And he was very upset and emotional at the thought of this young girl that could possibly have been on the news. as a missing child. Yes, Buckhorse. It's just, oh, exactly. That's the story. That's the question of the day, Michelle. We're wondering, like, where were the parents and why would they allow this child to walk by herself? And why didn't she have a hat and gloves? Detroit winters are no joke. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Brewster. And sadly, I gave her a little bit of limelight. But the only reason I was giving her the limelight, because I really wasn't going to, was just to show how dusty some people can be. That, you can see something like this and you're only focused on the fact that your date didn't go well and you didn't get a ride home. Like, give me a break. It's just so ridiculous. So ridiculous. But anyhow, I just wanted to share that with you, family. Again, I thank you very much for taking the time out to hang out with me for a half an hour. I know that there are some Christmas celebrators on here, so I will leave you to go and have fun with your family and friends. And if you're hitting the road, the highways and byways, and plane, trains, and automobiles, have a good time. Be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow. I shall see you tomorrow, same time, same channel. And just before I sign off, I just want to remind everybody, if you haven't done so already, please, please download the African Diaspora News Channel app from your Google or Apple store. And if you have already downloaded it, we thank you very much for doing so. Also, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Truth and Black Excellence with Emma Ansah. And I do live streams Saturday nights at 8 p.m. And I'm going to start picking up to do more live streams um, throughout the starting next year. Starting next year, I'm going to be doing more live streams. So come hang out with me there, and also hang out with the other journalists on this platform that are also crushing it. Checking on their lives, join the conversation there, watch their content. Everybody here is doing beautiful work. And we're covering our people. We're covering the diaspora. So follow and check out everybody's work. And that's what I have to say. I'm going to leave you now, but as I said, enjoy yourself, be safe, and I shall see you tomorrow. Until then, peace be.